The night sky split with crimson fire as Aric said, "I cannot hold it back any longer." Flames leapt from his hands, igniting the ancient stones around him. Selene gasped, her voice trembling. "You will burn us all if you let fear rule you." Aric's chest heaved as sparks clung to his skin like living embers, while Selene's palms glistened with droplets of conjured water. Shadows danced between them as the world cracked open with violent energy. From the distance, the villain Malrik's cold laughter echoed, "Such fragile love cannot withstand destiny." Selene's tear slipped down her cheek, hissing as it fell against Aric's fire. She whispered, "I will not let you fall." Aric's eyes flickered with doubt, flames bursting upward as if trying to consume the heavens. Selene stepped closer, water swirling at her feet, her voice steady. "Trust me, even if it kills us." Aric roared, "Then let destiny take me," as fire and water surged toward one another, colliding with a blinding storm that shook the night. The courtyard lay in ruins, smoke curling from broken stones as silence pressed heavy over the night. Aric collapsed to his knees, chest heaving as flames flickered weakly around his hands. Selene rushed to his side, whispering, "You nearly destroyed yourself." He met her eyes, shame burning deeper than fire. "I cannot control it." Her fingers brushed his shoulder, water cooling his scorched skin. "Then let me help," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and hope. Aric pushed her hand away, voice harsh. "You cannot carry my curse." Selene's gaze hardened as she stood tall, water swirling defiantly. "It is not a curse but a gift waiting to be claimed," she said. Aric shook his head, eyes dark with fear. "If I let it loose, nothing survives." Selene whispered, "Then let me be your anchor." The sound of footsteps echoed across the broken courtyard as Malrik descended the stairs. His cold voice pierced the smoke. "Your bond is your weakness." Aric staggered to his feet, rage flickering in his flames. Selene stepped in front of him, arms outstretched. "He will not take you." Malrik sneered, shadows coiling at his feet. "You cannot even protect yourself." Aric clenched his fists, fire flaring weakly as his voice broke. "I will fight you even if it kills me." Malrik laughed, cruel and cold. "Then you will burn with her." Selene turned her head slightly toward Aric, whispering, "Together we can hold him." Her hand reached back, brushing against his, water cooling the fire. For a fleeting moment, trust flickered like a fragile flame. The ruins still smoldered as dawn bled across the horizon, painting the sky with crimson haze. Aric walked unsteadily, voice strained. "Every breath feels like ash." Selene followed, her water magic softening his path, whispering, "You must let me carry some of this weight." Aric shook his head, flames flickering along his skin. "If you take it, you'll be destroyed." Selene's gaze hardened, silver eyes catching light. "Then let me burn beside you." He stopped, heart pounding, watching her courage stand brighter than the sun. In that moment, fear and longing collided within him, unspoken truth trembling between them, as storm clouds gathered once more on the horizon. They entered the forest edge, morning mist curling around, twisted roots and dark trunks. Selene paused, voice low. "This place remembers old magic." Aric clenched his fists, fire flaring in defiance. "Then it will fear me." From the shadows, a whisper slipped through, like poisoned silk. "Fear is a gift you squander." Malrik's presence slithered between the trees, unseen yet felt. Selene raised her hand, water shimmering to cut the fog. "Show yourself." Aric's flames surged against the mist, his jaw tight with fury. "He will not break us." Yet deep inside, doubt gnawed at every word. The silence broke with a sudden rustle as a cloaked figure stepped forward. Malrik emerged, his black eyes gleaming. "You cannot run from the bond that will kill you both." Aric lunged forward, flames erupting violently. "I will end you." Selene caught his arm, voice sharp. "This is what he wants." Aric's fire dimmed at her touch, his chest rising in ragged breaths. Malrik smirked, voice venomous. "Her touch chains you, boy, and when she breaks, so will you." Selene whispered, his words are poison, yet fear flickered beneath her steady gaze. The ground trembled as Malrik raised his hand, shadows bursting outward like serpents. Selene cried, "Stay behind me," forming a wall of water that shimmered in the half-light. Aric stepped forward, ignoring her plea, "No more hiding." His flames tore through the mist, clashing against Malrik's shadowed tendrils. Sparks and steam erupted as fire and water collided with darkness. Selene shouted, "Together, Aric!" But his fury burned too hot, deafening him. Malrik's laughter cut through the chaos. "He is mine already." Selene's heart clenched, torn between love and fear, as the forest shook with violent power. Aric fell to one knee, fire sputtering as shadows closed around him. Selene rushed to his side, water bursting outward in a desperate shield. She whispered fiercely, "I will not lose you." Aric's voice cracked, "I cannot win against him." Selene held his face, silver eyes blazing with resolve. "Then let us fight not for victory but for each other." Malrik sneered, "Love makes corpses of heroes." Yet Selene's magic grew brighter, water glowing like stars against the dark. For the first time, Aric's lips curved with fragile trust, and his fire flared with her strength. The forest gave way to ancient ruins carved into cliffs, vines gripping the crumbling stone like claws of time. Selene touched the walls, whispering, "This place remembers more than we know." Aric followed, fire dim at his fingertips, his voice hoarse, "Why bring me here?" From the shadows, an older figure emerged, eyes lined with years of grief. It was Master Kalen, voice deep and weary, because truth hides where memory bleeds. Aric stiffened, rage flashing. "You abandoned me." Kalen lowered his gaze. "I feared what you would become." Selene stepped between them, steady and firm. "Fear no longer serves us." Kalen's staff struck the earth, runes flickering across the ruins as shadows receded. "You were born not cursed, but chosen," he said. Aric's hands shook as fire burst unwillingly, chosen to destroy. Selene touched his shoulder, or to save. Kalen's eyes narrowed. Bonded powers carry both ruin and salvation. Aric's voice cracked, "I cannot trust myself." Selene met Kalen's gaze, voice resolute, "Then teach him to trust me." Silence stretched as the ruins trembled, secrets etched in stone, vibrating with unseen truth. The sound of breaking stone thundered as Malrik's voice echoed, "Your truths mean nothing." Dark tendrils seeped into the ruins, swallowing runes with black fire. Aric cried out, "He taints everything." Selene raised both hands, water bursting outward to hold shadows at bay. Kalen planted his staff, chanting old words, "Light remembers what darkness forgets." Malrik's laughter pierced the chaos. "You will all drown in the bond you cling to." Aric's heart raced, torn between rage and despair, fire roaring uncontrolled as he shouted, "Then let it consume me." Selene's scream cut through, "No!" Aric collapsed to his knees, clutching his head as fire raged beyond control. "I cannot stop it," he groaned. Selene knelt, her water wrapping around his flames like a shield, whispering, "You are not alone." Kalen's voice rang firm, "Trust is the key. Let her in." Aric shook violently, fear cracking his voice. "If I open, she will burn with me." Selene pressed her forehead to his, breath trembling. "Then let us burn together and rise anew." In that fragile moment, fire dimmed, water steadied, and the ruins glowed with ancient light. The ruins erupted in sudden brilliance as fire and water fused, forming a luminous storm of steam and light. Malrik staggered back, his shadows shrinking, voice furious, "This bond will destroy you." Aric rose, flames burning steady at last, eyes locked on Selene. "She is my strength," he declared. Selene smiled faintly, water rippling at her feet, "And he is mine." Kalen's voice trembled with awe, "The prophecy lives." The ruins blazed with power, ancient carvings shining as if awakened. For the first time, hope flickered brighter than fear. The ruins lay quiet, yet tension coiled between every broken stone. Aric paced, fire sparking from his fingertips, muttering, "The bond makes me weak." Selene stepped forward, voice soft yet firm, "It makes you human." His glare snapped to her, flames blazing. It makes me dangerous. Kalen's staff struck the ground, echoing like thunder. Control comes from trust, not denial. Selene's eyes brimmed with quiet hurt, whispering, "You trust your fire more than me." Aric faltered, shame flashing, but pride swallowed his voice. Shadows stirred at the edge of the ruins, carrying Malrik's laughter like a cruel reminder of betrayal. Aric's fire burst upward, scorching stone, his voice breaking. "You don't understand the weight I carry." Selene raised her arms, water spiraling in answer. "Then let me carry it with you." Aric shook his head violently. "If you touch this flame, it will consume you." Selene's tears shimmered as her voice trembled. "Then let me burn beside you, because I will not let you face this alone." Kalen whispered, "This bond is tested by sacrifice." Yet Aric turned away, his fire spreading uncontrolled, as if rejection was the only shield he knew. The ground split violently as another figure stepped from the shadows, cloaked in sorrow and fire. Darius, once Aric's ally, now scarred and broken, eyes burning with bitterness. Aric's voice cracked, "Brother, what have you become?" Darius sneered, fire curling from his hands. "What you will, once love betrays you." Selene's breath caught, recognition flooding her, the fallen hero. Aric's chest tightened, torn by grief. "I thought you were dead." Darius laughed bitterly. "I was, and in death I found the truth. Love only breaks us." His fire clashed violently against Aric's, as memories turned to weapons. Darius advanced, fire dripping from his hands like molten chains. "You will lose her just as I lost everything," he growled. Selene's voice rang clear. "You chose to fall, he has not." Aric stepped forward, fire clashing with his brother's, screaming, "You are not my fate." Darius snarled, "I am your future." Sparks rained as their fires collided, scorching stone, tearing ruins apart. Selene raised water to shield them, but the force threw her back. Kalen cried out, "Hold to love or darkness wins." Aric's heart broke as his brother's face twisted with torment. The battle ended in sudden silence as Darius' flame wrapped around Aric's throat, forcing him to his knees. Selene screamed, water surging, but Malrik stepped forward, shadows blocking her path. "You cannot save him," Malrik taunted, voice venomous. Aric's voice rasped, "Do not give him what he wants." Tears streamed down Selene's face, her voice cracking. "I will not abandon you." Darius's grip trembled, his eyes flickering with pain, torn between rage and memory. Malrik hissed, "Break their trust, and he is yours forever." The bond strained, love against betrayal, as hope hung by a fragile thread. The night deepened, the ruins echoing with broken silence as Aric staggered to his feet. His fire flickered weakly, his voice hoarse. "He is my blood, yet he is lost." Selene placed a trembling hand on his chest, whispering, "Then do not let him drag you with him." Kalen's eyes glowed faintly, voice heavy with revelation. The prophecy was never about destruction. It was about union. Aric turned sharply, rage igniting. "You lied to me." Kalen's staff trembled. "I feared you were not ready." Malrik's laughter split the air. "Union or curse, it ends in fire." Selene held her ground, eyes burning bright. "No, it begins in love." Kalen stepped forward, voice heavy with truth. "Your bond is no curse. Fire and water are two halves of the same soul." Aric shook his head violently, flames bursting. "If I believe that, she dies with me." Selene's hands cupped his face, water glowing between her fingers. "Or I live with you." Darius' broken voice cut through. "I once believed the same. Love betrayed me." His eyes flickered with anguish, fire churning with hatred. Malrik hissed beside him, "Yes, let him see what love costs." Selene's voice rang sharp, "Your fall is not his fate." The ruins trembled as carvings lit with ancient flame. Kalen whispered, "The prophecy speaks. When fire and water embrace, the world is reborn." Aric's voice shook. "And if we fail?" Kalen's gaze fell heavy, "Then all burns." Selene grasped Aric's hand, eyes steady. "We will not fail." Darius screamed, fire spiraling from his body. "Lies, Love destroys everything it touches. He charged, flames crashing like a storm. Aric and Selene stood together, their powers merging, fire and water colliding in luminous brilliance. For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. The collision erupted, steam and light bursting across the ruins, fire and water entwining in violent beauty. Aric cried out, "It's too much." Selene's voice cut through the chaos, "Hold on to me." Their powers surged, waves of steam exploding skyward, shaking earth and stone. Malrik shielded himself with shadows, sneering, "The bond consumes itself." Darius fell to his knees, blinded by the brilliance, whispering brokenly, "It should have been me." Kalen roared, staff blazing, "This is their fate, not yours." Aric and Selene's joined power burned brighter than the stars. When the light faded, silence fell heavy. Aric stood trembling, flames steady but no longer wild. Selene leaned against him, her voice soft, "We are stronger together." Aric met her gaze, tears streaking his soot-stained face. "You are my anchor." Darius crawled forward, voice breaking, "Why did love spare you when it damned me?" Malrik's eyes gleamed cold, "Because weakness wears many faces." Kalen's voice thundered, "No, because their love is true." The ruins glowed with lingering symbols, prophecy alive. Yet beneath the fragile peace, Malrik's shadow thickened, whispering of war yet to come. Thunder fractured the night sky as Malrik raised his arms, shadows pouring like black rivers, slamming against the ruins with terrifying force. Aric stepped forward, fire roaring through his veins, his voice booming, "This ends tonight, Malrik." Flames surged from his palms, painting the stones with crimson light. Selene stood at his side, water spiraling around her hands like ribbons of starlight, her voice fierce together, "We end him, not apart." Darius trembled near the edge, scarred face caught between fury and sorrow, whispering, "I was once where you stand, Aric. Do not fall as I did." Kalen lifted his staff, sparks of ancient runes spilling into the air, his words strong, "Trust in the bond, for it was foretold." Malrik sneered, his cloak splitting into writhing shadows, "Your bond is weakness, and weakness bends to me." Aric's flames burst higher, his eyes blazing like molten steel. "Then love will not bend, it will break you." The battlefield roared alive as fire, water, and shadow collided, shaking earth and sky in violent brilliance. Malrik unleashed a torrent of shadows, coiling serpents of darkness striking against the stone walls, spreading across the battlefield like black fire. Selene thrust her arms skyward, water exploding outward in a luminous wave, clashing against the darkness, her scream echoing, "You will not take him from me!" Aric surged forward, flames erupting with violent intensity, his roar shaking the air, "You will not break us!" Sparks rained like meteors as his fire carved through the night. Darius staggered, clutching his chest, torn by old memories of love, whispering, "This bond. I once believed in it too, but it left me shattered." Malrik's voice slithered through the chaos. "See, boy, love destroys." Kalen slammed his staff against the ground, voice commanding, "Faith is stronger than fear. Hold to her." Aric turned, clasping Selene's hand, his fire entwining with her water, creating radiant light that pushed against the shadows. The clash became a storm of steam, flame and icy spray, brighter than any dawn. The ground quaked violently as Aric and Malrik collided, flames and shadows clashing in a storm that tore stone from the earth. Selene darted forward, water spiraling into a glowing shield around Aric, her voice cutting through chaos, "You will not face him alone." Aric's voice cracked as fire burst around them, "You are my strength, Selene." Malrik sneered, his hands striking forward, shadows slicing toward her, "Then she is your doom." The darkness slammed against her shield, sparks exploding. Darius staggered, consumed by torment, his scarred face twisted, "Stop this madness." Flames burst uncontrollably from his body, wild and broken, colliding with Aric and Malrik. Kalen raised his staff high, his voice booming, "Choose, Darius. Redemption or ruin lies in your hands. The battlefield became a storm of flame, water, and shadow, steam hissing and lightning splitting the sky, as each heart fought to hold its truth. Aric dropped to his knees, shadows constricting his chest like serpents, choking the breath from him. Flames sputtered weakly as Malrik loomed above, his voice dripping venom. This is the fate of weakness. Selene dove to his side, her hands glowing with radiant water, screaming, I will not let you fall. She pressed her forehead against his, silver hair mingling with soot, whispering with trembling strength, if we burn, then we burn together. Aric's fire ignited, stronger than before, merging with her water in brilliant harmony. Darius collapsed nearby, tears streaking his scarred face, broken words spilling, I see it now. I was blind. Love does not curse, it saves. Kalen stood tall, awe in his eyes, his staff glowing with ancient runes. The bond is complete. The storm of their union exploded outward, water and fire surging as one, shattering Malrik's shadows in blinding brilliance. The climax thundered as fire and water erupted in a blinding explosion, the battlefield dissolving in radiant steam. Malrik screamed, his cloak ripped apart, shadows scattering into ash. Aric and Selene rose together, hands clasped, their powers blazing as one. Aric's voice thundered above the storm, This is our destiny. Selene cried out beside him, And it is ours to choose. Malrik staggered, fury in his eyes, You cannot kill me. Darkness never dies. Darius roared, releasing one last burst of flame, his voice breaking, Then I will end what I began. His fire slammed into Malrik's chest, shadows ripping apart in agony. Malrik's scream faded into silence, body dissolving into nothingness. Aric and Selene stood trembling, their bond glowing like a living flame. The night finally calm. Kalen lowered his staff, his voice soft with awe. The prophecy is fulfilled. The silence after was deafening, broken only by the sound of their beating hearts. Ash drifted like snow as dawn broke over the smoldering battlefield. Aric held Selene against him, his chest rising with ragged breaths, voice raw. It is finally over. Selene lifted her hand to his face, whispering softly, The battle is over, yes, but the war within you still burns. His flames flickered faintly, not wild but steady, his voice trembling without you. I'm nothing but fire consuming itself. She smiled through exhaustion, water shimmering faintly around her palms, and without you, I am water waiting to drown. Kalen approached, his staff lowered, his voice heavy with relief. The prophecy has reached its end. Darius sat nearby, scarred hands gripping ash, whispering bitterly, Then, why do I still feel so empty? Silence spread, victory heavy with grief, as the survivors carried both triumph and loss. Aric pulled Selene to her feet, voice shaking. Will they ever forgive the ruin we brought? Selene's gaze turned toward the horizon, where burned stone met morning light. Forgiveness begins when truth is spoken. Kalen's voice carried steady and solemn. You gave hope when none remained. That is enough for those who survive. Darius bowed his head, scarred face darkened by grief, whispering, Hope is no longer mine to hold. Aric reached for him, fire glowing softly at his fingertips. Then let us carry it for you, until you can carry it again. Selene took his hand, warmth and water mingling with flame, their bond glowing faint, yet undeniable. Together, they faced the rising sun as dawn exhaled, the first light stronger than the shadow left behind. The horizon stretched open, painted with gold and crimson light. Selene turned to Aric, her voice quiet. What if this prophecy was not an ending, but only a beginning? Aries locked with hers, fire steady within his chest, his voice firm. Then we will face whatever comes, together. Kalen looked to the glowing sky, staff pressed against the earth, voice heavy. The balance has been restored for now. But shadows always wait for light to falter. Darius muttered bitterly from behind, his scarred voice trembling. Light abandoned me once. It will do so again. Selene's silver eye softened as she extended her hand, whispering, It waits for you still. Darius hesitated. pain and longing fighting in silence. For the first time, the fire in his eyes dimmed, not in rage, but in fragile hope. Selene leaned into Aric as they walked slowly among fractured ruins, her voice soft. "Do you ever fear this bond is cursed?" Aric smiled faintly, exhaustion softening his fire. "If it is a curse, I will gladly bear it until the end of my days." Kalen followed behind, his staff tapping stone, voice firm. "Love is not a curse. It is the only truth that outlives shadow." Selene pressed her forehead to Aric's shoulder, whispering gently, "Then let us live in that truth, even if it kills us." Behind them, Darius trailed silently, grief and regret weighing him down, faint fire flickering from his scarred hands. The ancient carvings across the ruins pulsed faintly, acknowledging their vow, the world itself bearing witness to their fragile yet unbreakable bond. At the cliff's edge overlooking the horizon, the sun rose in radiant splendor, painting the sky with hues of gold, pink, and blue. Aric turned to Selene, his voice breaking, "Whatever comes after this, I choose you." Her silver eyes shimmered with tears as she whispered, "And I choose you." Their lips met, a kiss forged in fire and water, their bond glowing like living light. Kalen lowered his head in reverence, murmuring, "So the prophecy ends, and a new story begins." Darius turned away, shadows clinging to him, tears streaming silently as he walked into uncertainty, chasing redemption he was not sure he would ever find. The rising sun blazed across their faces, and in that brilliance, love endured, fierce, eternal, unbroken.